great. Yeah, I was actually just reading up on your paperwork that you had submitted previously. Yeah, normally we would have it on the computer. The computers are down right now, so we're just going to, sorry, let me get situated here. They printed it off for me to go ahead and read over, and I like took notes on everything, so, but don't worry, this is completely confidential. It stays locked in this office, like, you know, no one will ever see this, okay? So you are completely safe with me, okay? Don't worry. Yeah. I mean, I know that can be like a concern for sure. Okay. So, do you want to go ahead and get started? I can ask you like a couple of questions or however you want to do it here. Okay, yeah, so we'll start with like a few easy questions. I'm just going to kind of like try to get to know you during this session. I'm going to be taking notes and we're just going to kind of like go from there. So let's start really easy, okay? And why don't you tell me, what is your name? Okay, yeah, it's just really easy question, you know, get a baseline, and I need to make sure, you know, I'm talking to the right person anyway. Right. So, what do you prefer to be called? Do you like that name? Do you prefer a nickname? You know, my name is Mercedes, but most people just call me Mercy. You can call me either one. You know, this is a professional setting. I introduce myself as Mercedes to most people the first time that I meet them, but most people introduce me if they're like, you know, like, hey, this is my, you know, friend so-and-so, like, they say Mercy, and then it gets very confusing for people. I have said, hi, I'm Mercedes, at the same time as other people have said, yeah, this is Mercy, and they're like, what's your name? Hello. So very confusing. But do you have anything that you prefer to be called? Any nicknames? You know, maybe not anything crazy, but like, you know, asteroid destroyer, or like, you know, whatever. Okay. I mean, listen, you would be surprised by the things that people prefer to be called. But okay, no, that's great. That's good to know. Okay. And then, how old are you? Okay. Nope, I'm just like taking note of everything. Okay, there's no like wrong answers, right answers. Like I'm just taking notes of everything so I can go back and look at this and be prepared for our next session, okay? And it'll help me kind of like distinguishing qualities about you, you know. You've got, yeah, like your eye color, your hair color, I already have that written down, so like I know, like, you know, who it is that like who I'm trying to think, you know, take these notes on and stuff like that. Of course, I always remember all of my clients, all of my patients, but you never know, okay? Like something could slip up. I've heard horror stories of people like mixing up their notes, and then like they go into a session and they are not ready at all. So I like to just be a little overly prepared, but of course I'm going to remember you, don't worry. Okay. And this is kind of a silly question, but how old do you feel physically, mentally? You know, I sometimes feel like I'm physically 60 years old and I'm not, but you know, my body has other things in mind for how I feel. And then mentally, sometimes I feel 35 and sometimes I feel 19. I don't ever really feel any older than 35, I'll be honest, and I'm not 35. I am younger than 35, but it is quite a big, like, a lot of fluctuation there, you know. It just depends on my mood, what's going on, who am I with, you know. So what about you? Okay, interesting. No, that's great. There's not, again, no wrong answers here, don't you worry. And if you don't like me, like, explaining the answers to you, like, what I mean with the question, I can totally not do that. I probably won't do that for all of them, but I like to kind of, especially at first, give you a base understanding of, like, what exactly I'm asking. But the way you interpret it can also be important, so I may not do that for all of the questions today, just so I can see kind of, like, how your brain works, what the gears are kind of turning in there. Okay. Now, where do you feel most at home? No, I'm I'm not gonna give you, no, this will be a good one to see kind of like how do you interpret it, you know, physically at home, mentally at home, like how are you kind of like interpreting that question? So you tell me. Okay. No, that's great. That's great. Okay. Yeah. That's a very normal answer. Don't you worry about that, okay? And who is one person that makes you feel grounded? Grounded can, you know, be somebody that kind of like calms you down, somebody that you just enjoy like being around, you know, makes you feel not anxious. Like there's lots of different, you know, just who makes you feel grounded. Okay. Perfect. All right. And silly question again, but are you a morning person or a night person? What do you think? Okay. No, it really doesn't matter. It's just, you know, I like to ask that question. For me, I'm kind of more of a night person, I think. So I, you know, don't do super well with morning sessions. I schedule a lot of my sessions a little bit later. Thankfully, I have control over my schedule in that way. So, you know, that's good to know for you. If you were a morning person, I would just meet you somewhere in the middle. You know, we wouldn't do like super late sessions, but maybe we do like an early afternoon one or something like that. But, you know, there's really no wrong or right answer. Again, like I will work around whatever schedule you have because like I'm here for you. Okay, and if it didn't work out for some reason, I can refer you to other people who like you might connect with more. Yes, I do say like a lot. I use a lot of filler words. It's something I'm working on. I know. It can be annoying for some people, but I will try to not do that, okay? Okay. And how are you feeling right now with these questions? Are you feeling okay? Okay, yeah, I know they've been kind of like easy so far, so let's move on. We've got some more questions. We're gonna get into like some more kind of like, some of them might be a little uncomfortable, maybe, you know, but we'll see. So our next question is, how have you been feeling lately on a scale of 1 to 10? And however you interpret that, just word vomit at me. Okay. Yeah. No, that totally makes sense. Okay. No, I'm following you, don't worry. Okay. Yeah. And is there anything that's been going on that's making you feel that way? Anything that's happened recently? Other than Mercury being in retrograde, of course. Mercury's always in retrograde. We've got to stop using that as an excuse. Anyway. Okay. Yeah. Okay. That's good to know for me. Okay. Yeah. All right. And then what emotion has been showing up for you the most this week? So, you know, happiness, sadness, anger. If it's anger, that's usually a secondary emotion. So we'll want to maybe like talk about that a little bit more. What is making you feel angry? It'll be good to kind of unpack that and figure that out, because anger is usually secondary to like, you know, embarrassment or sadness or, you know, other things. So what emotion are you feeling this week mostly? Okay. Okay, and we'll talk about that more a bit later, okay? but we're gonna keep asking questions. Are you doing okay with these questions so far? Okay, good. So, what is something that helps you calm down when you feel overwhelmed? Yeah, you've got too much on your plate, you're feeling anxious, or like you're being pulled in a million different directions. What's something that makes you feel like calms you down when you're feeling that way? Okay. Okay. Yeah, that's good for me to know for sure. Are you practicing that when you're feeling that way, or are you? It's okay. You know, if not, like it's hard when you're in those moments to remember to do those grounding techniques, but we'll definitely work on that. We'll work on that together here. Sometimes I literally have to tell myself, like, you're feeling anxious right now, you need to like calm down. And sometimes it helps to name whatever like emotion you're feeling. So if you're feeling anxious a lot, maybe naming that anxious feeling as like a different version of you, so you can kind of approach it from an outside perspective like you would with a friend. But we'll talk more about that later as well. Do you find it easy to open up to people, or do you tend to kind of bottle things up? Yeah, that's pretty normal. That's okay. Okay. Yeah, okay. And do you feel like the people in your life listen to you? Yeah. I mean, that's a common feeling. It's not like a big deal at all. And luckily I'm here and I'm listening. Okay, so don't you worry. And we'll work on maybe surrounding ourselves with people who do listen to us, or why we're feeling that way. Is there something that we can do to communicate with people to make them listen to us, or make us feel like they do listen to us? Sometimes it's just a matter of, I'm not confident enough to always speak up when I'm feeling, you know, like somebody's not listening to me, and maybe they would listen if, you know, you speak up. But some people really just, they have a personality that takes a lot of attention. Some people call it, they're sucking the air out of the room. It's really about them. And sometimes it just takes a little bit more confidence, and sometimes it's just, we don't interact with those types of people, you know. So, but we're gonna keep moving on. Again, we're doing our intake here, but this is lots of good stuff for us to talk about and cover later. Okay, so do you feel like you need more rest and relaxation, or fun and excitement in your life? What do you think you're kind of like lacking more of? Okay. I definitely feel that. Okay. Yeah, that's great. Yes, and then that's amazing. And we're gonna keep going as long as you're doing okay here. Are you still doing okay? All right, good. So, what is your earliest happy memory? Okay, that is a good happy memory. That's great. Mine, I think my earliest happy memory is my school was they were collecting toys to donate to like a mission that was going, I don't even know where. I was pretty young at that point, but I brought my toys, and I had this one doll that I really loved, and my family was like, no, you don't have to donate that doll. I slept with it every night, and it was my favorite, and they were like, no, you don't have to donate that doll, like that's your favorite doll. But I really wanted to share that with other kids, with another kid, so I snuck it in my backpack and I took it to school, and I donated it. And then I got a picture of the little girl that got my doll, which was just, I think at the time I didn't realize how like good that made me feel. But as I've gotten older, I've realized, you know, that's a really good feeling, and I do enjoy doing stuff like that, which is why, you know, we're here right now. So yeah, that's mine. Now, who is somebody that made you feel safe when you were younger? Is there anybody that kind of made you feel safe? I'm sure, you know, a friend, a teacher, like parents, aunts, uncles, grandparents. Okay. And what did they do that made you feel safe? Okay. Yeah, no, that's great. I'm happy to hear that you had somebody. That's amazing. If you could go back and tell your childhood self something, what would you say? And not like, I'm gonna like invest in the lottery, like these are the winning numbers, like something that's like kind of like life advice that you wish that you had known, I guess, earlier, or like something that's like motivational, or, you know, sorry, there's a fly in here. I don't know what's going on. Okay. Okay, that's amazing. All right. Yeah, again, no like wrong answers here at all. Okay. See, these are a little bit more like lighthearted, I guess. Maybe not all of them, but you know, we're doing good. You're doing great so far. Now we're gonna keep going. Do you think that your friends would say you're more introverted or more extroverted? Like your close friends? Okay. That's pretty common. Yeah, no, that's very common. Okay. And who is somebody in your life right now that you trust deeply? Okay. Yeah. Okay, that's great. Do you have anybody in your life that you feel like kind of drains your energy? Okay, that's normal. We'll work on that. You know, we'll talk about why that you feel that way. Like what, you know, are they somebody to keep in your life? Are there, you know, maybe sometimes you gotta make some distance. Like we'll talk about that. And do you feel like you fall for people quickly or slowly? Okay. No wrong answers. We will be talking about it, but yeah, no wrong answers. Quickly can sometimes be a symptom of an anxious attachment style, and then slowly depends on how slowly. Like, are you moving at a reasonable pace, or is it kind of like, you know, I don't get attached to anybody. I don't fall for anybody because I don't want to get attached and I don't want to get hurt. That's more maybe avoidant. Sometimes avoidant people can also get attached quickly and then they get overwhelmed quickly. So, yeah, but you know, that's why we ask that question. Okay. What is something that you really want but you're afraid to admit? And again, this is a safe space. It's not going anywhere. Okay. Yeah. And maybe we just need the confidence to achieve that. Okay. We'll work on that. Okay. What is a dream you have that you've never let go of? Okay. Yeah, that's a great dream. For me, those questions actually they go hand in hand for me. Yeah. I grew up really, my like pipe dream as a child was I wanted to be a singer. So that's a dream that I've never let go of, and that is kind of like my secret that I'm kind of afraid to admit. Yeah, not, well, you know, to like the people in my life, you know what I mean? But so, you know, even I have to work on things, so it's okay. You also have things to work on and you're here doing the work, so that's great. If you didn't have any obstacles like financial or time or anything like that, what would you do tomorrow? Okay. That's great. Yeah, that's all right. Okay. And then, what are you most proud of yourself for? I know it can be kind of a hard question to answer. It's hard to like give ourselves praise, but it's important too. Okay. That's great. And just a few more questions here. But just want to do a little check-in. How are you doing? You doing okay? Okay. So we're gonna do a few more questions. And then I'll be able to analyze this stuff and we can talk more about some of it next time. Okay? Okay. So, what is one smell that instantly relaxes you? Kind of a weird question, I know. Okay. I honestly don't know what my answer would be. I feel like lavender is a good one. I feel like that relaxes everybody. Rainy day, the smell of like a rainy day is relaxing. Certain sense of like people I care about, that would be relaxing for me. Really just depends. Okay. What is a sound that makes you feel safe? Okay. Yeah, that's a great one. And it doesn't matter, it's your sound. It's what makes you feel safe. It's about you. And then the last question. So, where does your mind go when you need a break? When you need to like just disappear into like your mind, where is kind of like your happy place, you know? Okay. That's great. That's great. It's good that you have one. That's amazing. Okay. So I've got all of that taken down here. And you've done amazing. That was so incredible. I'm so glad that you came in. I will review all of this and we will be able to talk more about it next time. Okay, do you have any questions for me? No? Okay, great. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and let you go. Enjoy the rest of your day, and I will reach out to you really soon. And if you want, you can go ahead and schedule your next appointment now at the front desk, and then yeah, we'll talk soon. Okay. All right. Bye bye.